And welcome back once again to the PCS Summer Split. We are rocking through the day, and it has been all about jungle so far. We'll have to see if that stays the same. Hey everybody, I'm Pyrotechnics, and he's Nightstar. Once again, our sponsor is CTBC Bank, always by your side, and of course, our wonderful broadcast partners. Got to give them a shout out as well. Riot Games, Garena, and Carry Live. Thank you for making this all possible. Now, Nightstar, up next, we got another matchup between a team that is pretty close to the top of the table and another one that is still in the hunt for their first win. It is PSG Talon taking on Sem9. Our Malaysian representatives have added a bit of Taiwanese flavor as well, revamped a bit of that roster, and there have been some things we've liked to see about them, even if we haven't seen them get the W just yet.
Yeah, when it comes to moving around the map, it has been a little bit more improved. Arashi still being able to play early game junglers or a lot of early pressure in his jungle style. And then in the mid lane, Lazar hasn't been thrown around as much. So that's always a good start, because before it felt like every single game it ended up being sort of like a black hole on the map, right? Everything just got pulled towards Lazar because he was constantly dying, constantly falling too far behind that you had to throw resources to try and prop him up. So far, it's been much improved from that regard. We just need to see him now be able to transition and be able to make plays for his team.
Absolutely. It can only go up from here. The winless team trying to find wins. And for PSG Talon, they've looked very good. Never mind that beyond gaming loss, this is a roster that is definitely flexed out of the gates. Hanabi in the top side, Buri, their new jungler, and Gory, their new mid laner, who was our MVP for last week, as well as Unified and Kaiwing, known quantities down on that bottom side of the map. And these are our returning champions. Have quite a lot of trophies in that case, Nightstar, and I think it's still going to be on everyone else in this league to prove that otherwise.
Yeah, and Gory so far has been absolutely outstanding. So excited to see more of Gory. Of course, we've yet to see a whole lot from Buri, but it feels like it's more of like I'm just here to facilitate my lanes, and once I get more comfortable and be able to speak Mandarin and connect with the rest of the team, then we start unleashing him. But so far, it's been really all about Gory, even Unified. Like, he's hasn't really had some big pop-off moments necessarily, and Hanabi, he's been thrown back to being weak side again.
Yeah, I think Gory coming into this roster has really changed how PSG Talon approach the game. We'll see if their opponents know how to deal with that change, as they are Sem9, No Name in the top side, Arashi in the jungle, Lazar in the mid, Jidodo and Asin rounding that out in the bottom side. Of course, Asin was previously their coach, even going back to like the Berjaya Dragons days. So he has been, hoping to be the big brain, but hasn't necessarily looked the best on the Rift. I feel like topside No Name has been the big standout as the rookies go.
Yeah, No Name's trying to bring some creativity into their drafts, and I think they need some sort of creativity when it comes to that draft phase, because in the lane phase, it's, still a bit of a struggle. Of course, when you look at this roster, you're not expecting them to really blow anyone out of the water when it comes to the lane phase and come out with a 20 CS lead. But unfortunately, while Ashin, he's been relatively good on moving around the map and helping out the team make plays, it's been this laning phase that's been extremely troubling for this bot lane. And Chiadodo hasn't been able to showcase his power as a bot laner quite yet because of some of Ashin's feels like rudimentary mistakes.
Yeah, I think that's a struggle, right? But let's take a look at who we're actually comparing today, because while Lazar has improved, Gory has been a massive improvement to this roster and has stood out so well. We saw a Corki game from him, Azir, as well as that Sylas. Of the three of them, he's only lost on the Sylas, whereas if you compare it, Lazar, you've seen him more prioritizing things like that Ahri. But Gory just does so much more for the team, right? Like, Lazar's improved in the laning phase. Gory is great in the team fights. He's just been a massive, massive part of PSG's success thus far.
Yeah, and when you compare the damage percentage, like, yes, this is a very small sample size. Let's keep that in mind. But 36% of damage coming in from Gory, that's a lot. That's a whole 15% more damage than Bay when he was playing in the regular split. So that is
difference.
A huge improvement. Yeah, a lot of the pressure was on Unified and a little bit on Hanabi to really pull out the damage and carry these team fights. Now you're getting Gory. That changes the dynamic mightily. It takes a big load off of Hanabi especially.
Certainly the case. Now, as you mentioned, though, it is early days. There's only 3 games in the book, so I think those stats might even out a little bit more as we get underway. PSG on the blue side, banning the Darius away from No Name. Azir Corki.
Goodbye, Corki.
Banned against Gory. I mean, do we see the Silas as well? I don't know.
I don't know if the Silas will be a focal point, but perhaps if they want to go for something like the Lissandra, I would expect Sem9 to go or play something like the Ari maybe, who has some roam capabilities. I would expect to see a Lissandra ban here. Maybe they go ahead, take away the Galio, also a great team fight champion, but they go ahead, remove away the Victor, great scaling, and of course, when it comes to the late game, has the ability to pop anyone in the map.
This is the statement. I don't think we ever saw Bay drawing 3 bans.
This should be Zeri
against PSG. That does leave Zeri up, though, unfortunately, for Unified. Gotta remember, not only a strong champion, but one of our best bot laners is going to be falling into his hands. And, oh boy, what do you got for an answer, Sem9?
Yeah, thankfully, Zeri not a lane-dominant champion, so maybe that was the plan all along. Hey, we give him something that can scale really, really well, maybe 1v9, but at least we're not going to get bodied in lane. But we'll see. Time will tell on that judgment here. As okay, Wukong Yuumi already.
You know what this might mean?
It's going to mean that it's going to be Twitch gaming.
It's Twitch Yuumi. Yeah, we're gonna. I think we might get Twitch Yuumi game. I love this as an answer. We'll have to see if PSG know that, get that read out, what they respond with. Of course, the Wukong being picked up by Arashi does deny it away from Bury, who hasn't gone for it. He's actually played much more of this Viego. As you mentioned, he's been more of a facilitator, but they will not opt for that jungle pick just yet. Instead, they're going to throw down the Lulu as the support.
Yeah, and if you expect it to be a Twitch Yuumi in that bottom lane, the Lulu is a great answer because you can just stand very far forward and constantly auto-harass and deny the Twitch as much CS as possible. Then PSG, it looks like they'll go ahead and lock in the Gnar, interestingly enough, instead of the Viego. So fully expect Viego to get banned in the second phase, and it's going to be GP locked in from Sem9. So some interesting things here, right? We should expect to see the Viego get banned by Sem9, but for PSG, fully expect to see the Twitch get removed, unless if they think, hey, we picked this lane just to hard slam a Twitch Yuumi. We'll leave it up for you guys to just test your luck, because we think now, I mean, it's Unified Kaiwing. Are they truly scared?
I don't know. We're going to have to see. They are going to try and target Bury's jungle. There's the Twitch ban. So bluff is called by PSG. They're not going to allow that through.
It has to be Viego here.
Yeah, I wonder what Sem9 have up their sleeves in the bot side. But yeah, let's see if the Viego gets banned away to put Bury on a new champion.
I mean, alternatives could be the Nidalee if you're really that scared. Again, the Nidalee technically can impact, and maybe they just want to take away the early game, right? Trundle, Volibear, both very early game focused junglers, whereas Viego, yes, he can has a gank timing on level 3 and level 4 when he kind of goes for a flash W move into the mid lane or something like that. But otherwise, he wants to get to level 6 and then start looking for team fights. So the other two aforementioned junglers that did get banned are champions that can gank a little bit harder pre-6.
There's the Jinx ban away. So for Shitoto, what we have seen the Ezreal. It's going to come in yet again. Ezreal Yuumi is going to be the name of the game. But the game plan has been very much just not get bodied early on, right? Like they've done their best to just deny the PSG tempo picks, if you will. And well, let's see how they round it all out. I mean, that's a fair bit of damage, global pressure, a good amount of mobility. They've got engaged. I like the comp. The way it's going for PSG. How are they going to end this one?
Yeah, it's not bad coming in from some 9, and this composition has some direction. Of course, we have concerns on if they're actually going to be able to get out of the lane phase, but to help Ashin not get caught out, I mean, what better way to put him onto Yumi where he's just stuck on someone else? So
no
if
target.
he gets caught out, it's their fault, you know?
Yeah, exactly. That's the way you play it. That's how Yumi works.
Trying to round things out. Have, of course, locked in the Vega, which we fully expected, given that it didn't get taken away in the bans. And we'll see, of course, whenever there's a Wukong up available, or something like a Gnar on the other side, it does make for a very good spot to lock in the Silas, who can constantly lock in those ultimates to put the pain on the other squad.
All right. A lot of flashes, some champions available for Lazar here. I do like the global pressure if they opt into the Talia, but yeah, the really... I feel like this is a debate. This can't be LeBlanc. No way. What?
Oh my. Okay.
Oh my god.
12-11 LeBlanc.
12-11 LeBlanc.
This is very interesting. Of course, LeBlanc Yumi, a combination that can pop people and has a little bit more kill pressure than just the LeBlanc by herself, right? Because you augment her AP with that Yumi ability. But again, it's 12-11 durability patch. There's a reason why we don't see assassins, and Lazar's gonna have to do a lot to prove us otherwise.
Yeah, this is risky. If I were to ask you, Nightstar, what Lazar's win rate on LeBlanc is this year, would you have an answer for me?
Yes, very easily. It's 0 because they haven't won a game.
Unfortunately, yeah, Sem9 did not win a game in the
Ask me about
split.
any champion
that lost. Yeah, you know what? Honestly, you got me on that one. You called my bluff. But I think this is bold from Lazar. I wonder if it's going to work out. I wonder if he's confident in this matchup. I do think that the Yumi does change things a little bit here, and it feels like Sem9, they have a plan, and they left some things up. We'll have to see if this works for them. They do have late game damage. That Gangplank can't be discounted, not to mention the Ezreal. But on the PSG side, I mean, they've got tools to try and deny getting bursted down themselves. I think if you see a Lulu, LeBlanc does not seem very attractive in that case.
Yeah, and LeBlanc has been played globally. So it's not like this pick is coming out of left field.
No, but it's definitely not as good as it used to be.
But only 53% win rate across our top leagues. So it's not exactly doing well, but, you know, it's technically got a positive win rate.
It still exists, and there's no Lissandra. You know, this is something. Let's see if Lazar can do it. I mean,
on it.
We were going to talk about how, you know, like the no-name win condition, you know, we got a little excited for the Yumi, but at the end of the day, it all gets pulled back to Lazar. The black hole is still in effect.
Yeah, somehow it all comes back to that mid lane. And at the very least, you know, Gory hasn't been a laner to hard punish people in lane. So maybe Lazar
That's true.
is able to get out of the lane, is able to start roaming, and then find some impact. So I like, you know, it's a risk that Sem9 clearly had in mind for this final pick, and they opt into it. So we'll just have to see how things pan out for them.
I'm curious to see what Arashi can do with this Wukong. Obviously, he's already lost a game on it this split, but it is a champion that puts out a lot of value. We know Bury is, as a player, you know, I think you called him a bit more of a caretaker, especially while he's getting used to a Mandarin-speaking team. I think this is an opportunity for Arashi to have a lot of early game impact. That was something we expected from him on last split Sem9, when he had to do a lot more heavy lifting. But now with the jungle having so much impact, not just in the early game, as we've seen 2 games in a row, but also just in general, I think this could be a chance for an Arashi hero game.
Yeah, and already, like...
Oh boy.
Look at Unified's items. He has himself a cult.
And he's still harassing.
And this is what you can do with the Lulu Zeri, because you have so much range, right? Unified able to poke out with Qs, but one of the highest damage auto attacks from the support role is that Lulu. And you also have that great poke range coming in from the glitter lane. So all in all, this is a very oppressive laning duo. And on the flip side, for Ezreal Yumi, it's all about scaling, right?
Yeah, they need to survive.
Yeah, especially anytime you lock in a Yumi. It's about getting through some of those early levels, make sure you get to level 6, and then attaching onto your jungler and try and make plays with them. Or in this case, attach onto your LeBlanc and hope LeBlanc has a completed first mythic to really start popping.
Yeah, well, Lazar has been able to punish Gory a little bit early on. We did see, as we tabbed over for just a second into that mid lane, bit of a play. Keep your eyes, though. I want to see if Arashi gets in to the lane early on. Bury, I don't know if he got spotted on that ward
He's
from the
getting
Raptors. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so they see him. So they know he's at Crab.
Yeah, so it will be a Crab exchange, and so far, you know, nothing too exciting coming out from these junglers, which is, I feel like, good news for Semnai, because the other 2 games, we had disasters happening through the jungle position that sent the game careening. And so far, the game is still being played.
Yeah, that's true. It's 4 minutes in. This game's still happening. But no, I mean, Sem9, I mean, like, you're right. When you're facing down an opponent that is just nameplate-wise so much stronger than you, a quiet early game, not a bad start. They are playing for the scaling, you know, with a few exceptions. I think Lazar probably not going to be as interested in the late game on this LeBlanc, unless he gets fed out of control. But he does force Gory to back, right? I mean, he's going to be able to match that, obviously, teleport timers and everything. But keeping a look at the game state, I mean, this is not an insurmountable difference. Unified and Kaiwing, for all the pressure they put out down bot, they didn't force Shidodo and Ashin out of lane.
Yeah, which is great. Especially for Ashin, who has been punished very, very heavily during the lane phase, getting caught out in weird spots, overextending, just not quite understanding how to play bot lane. But you can kind of understand why he was brought in, because map movement wise, this team wasn't very good at moving around the map, so they needed some help in that regard. And if you're just trying to look for a win, like, yeah, definitely go ahead, take that chance.
He's the coach, or, you know, previously coach of the team as well, and I feel like he's doing a little bit of elimination, right? And I think that Yumi is actually the perfect coach champion, because you just sit on the back of somebody all game, you get to tell them what to do, and you never have to worry about dying until they do.
Yeah.
And at that point,
I
then
died
it's already
because
your fault.
you died. It's your sin, it's not mine.
I like it. I think it's perfect. Yumi's the coach champ. All right. But this game, as you mentioned, fairly quiet in the early. I think that will change as soon as level 6 happens, but Arashi's not going to wait that long. As he looks for a play onto Gory, they won't find it, so it's just going to be the lane tax.
Good harass, gets that mid priority. We'll see if they ship. Well, it looks like they want to use that priority to cash in onto the top Crab and maybe set up some sort of dive. Gory level 5. And for the side of PSG, they have vision control bot half, which is why they're turning their attention towards this dragon. And now Gory, it's really just all about making sure Gory doesn't die. As long as he doesn't die, this is a big positive trade for PSG and exactly what they're looking for.
Using the map control they've got. Actually, look at what happened in the mid while that was all going down. Lazar and Gory actually trading closer to even than Lazar would have liked, so
I expect Lazar probably tried to stop his back and ended up taking a turret shot.
Yeah, it's been oof, probably. But you can see the improvement from this player as you know, it was so much more a net negative in the spring split, and it's Lazar had a hard time finding his footing in the league, especially in the last meta. This time around, he's been able to take it to Gory, at least keep even with him, and of course opt into this LeBlanc pickup. We're still waiting for it to yield results, but we'll see.
Yeah, and lane-wise, everyone is holding up somewhat okay. Top lane, you can kind of expect the GP to suffer just a little bit. Definitely outscales later on. And down in this bottom lane, I mean, that's where kind of the biggest CS discrepancy has been. But you're not too worried, right? It's still the Ezreal who has a cheaper build into the crit build coming in from the Zeri pick. So you should be, when it comes to item spikes, still on pace.
Mm-hmm. No, nice start. This is, I think, the first time today we've been able to just kind of kick back and relax. You know, this is going to be chill League of Legends for just a bit. PSG, they've kind of just realized, all right, we don't have to get the kills. We can just get the out farm. Maybe we'll find an opener. No Name does drop the cannon barrage as he gets chunked out by Meganar Hanabi. Even Hanabi's having a good time, and I think this was a game. This was a split where we were thinking, okay, maybe this is the return of Weakside King Hanabi, who doesn't seem to have looked quite as good. I was curious if that was due to just this changing team dynamic with Gory getting a lot more resources and doing more damage, or if it's just the meta shift doesn't really favor it.
Yeah, certainly, you know, his top champions still playing a big part of the meta, but a lot of the counter picks just really aren't up his alley. As we'll see. Okay, no fight to actually break out here.
He was looking for maybe the Smite steal away and maybe denying the Herald, but instead they'll just watch it go down. So PSG, it's almost like we're watching PSG last split. They're just slowly building up little advantages that are going to become insurmountable. It's a 400 gold lead. It's not that much, but they do have objectives on the map. They do have pressure. Arashi looking for an opening. He's the one who has Ajin on him right now, but Unified and Kaiwing have gotten out to safety.
Yeah, and he's going to be level 7. Yet to find a big play, of course. Now he has the ultimate available, but will be able to get yet another crab. So he's been able to get a lot of crabs.
Do crabs win games?
Seafood. To a certain point. Yeah,
it's true.
So
but here's the thing: PSG got the biggest crab. They got Shelly.
Yeah,
that's worth at least like 5 regular crabs.
It's about to be worth even more on the next patch, which is going to be next week when we get Belveth. I'm interested to see how many players will go ahead pick up Belveth because it is such a. Okay.
Shitoto. Okay, not gonna go down just yet. Kill pressure not quite there, and it's always a little bit hard to dive in Ezreal, especially when he has the Yuumi tagged onto him. So, gets away, but you can start to see the farm advantage building, and as we get back to it, 10 minutes, no first blood. This is some chill League of Legends on the PCS channel. Yeah. But you're right,
back to Belveth.
Belveth's going to be exciting. The fishies.
Yeah, I've got, you know, some questions about if the champion itself is actually good, but certainly when you get one of those Rift Heralds, the power of the rubber banding that you can have is definitely immense.
Speaking of rubber bands, Gory slamming it down as he sticks to Lazar quite well. Final chapter down bottom. Shidodo is going to find Unified, but they still do damage right now. So it's kind of love taps back and forth, and that's the Big Gnar into No Name. You can't get the orange out of that one, my friend. And there's our first blood as Gory with the dive down. Lazar getting punished.
Yeah, dies there. Boy. Arashi will be able to get those minions. I don't think he's actually gonna
2 levels
go in though. Yeah,
but I mean this is feels bad though. You pick a LeBlanc specifically because you think you can outplay Gory early. And you get first blooded.
Yeah, and now this is where the opening is going to start. Opening up as we get to see. I think this was the first trade. I don't think this was the actual kill.
Yeah, I wanted to see. This was like the start. He gets a lot of damage.
Yeah,
he slams it down. Yeah, this was just the first trade, but I think we're going to see the rest of it as the Herald is happening down bottom. What happened here, Lazar?
Just plates down in that bottom. It's still fine, but
yeah, but there's the extra gap close. Gory just knows how to play.
He just doesn't respect it. So it doesn't quite know the damage limits coming in from Silasing. That's going to be a costly death. So Sem9 going to be set a little bit off kilter, but can they grab this kill? This would be massive for them.
Burry's able to get away though. He does have that
move
power
speed
path,
too much, but now Gory, he's very far forward.
Low again. There's the root down. They have the damage. Looking for more. They can't quite find it. As he turns around, gets the kill and the outplay. They might just punish him for it as he steals away a Cyclone. Arashi gets revenge, but a 1-for-1 trade for the outnumbered Gory.
Yeah, and they lose bot tower as well. So, you know, 7-9, at least they go for a play. Unfortunately, it doesn't pay off very well. And PSG, even though CS-wise, the CS gap hasn't, like, ballooned that much, but the big difference has been the plates. As we can see in the bottom left, they have 9 plates to 0, which is half of this gold lead. It's like half of this gold lead. So
yeah, this is huge.
That is where most of the pressure is coming from on the side of PSG, and then add in the small CS advantages they do have, that makes up the extra. And they're going to also get 2 dragons. So 7-9, now this is the critical point, because you're about to get your mythics completed, and on 1 mythic, that's where you need to see this LeBlanc start to pick up.
Might be a little late for that, I feel. I mean, they can set up a play. Arashi was able to get a kill back, but, like, Lazar just has been outplayed by Gory right now. We're going to see Arashi moving up to try and defend this turret, but it is so close to falling, and the Wukong has just not been able to find those engages. It's really just been, like, aftermath. Gory going to look to hunt down No Name as he abducts, absconds right back to it. He doesn't even care about those barrels, and he's sitting on a cannon barrage of his own, but No Name walks away. The pressure, though, continues as PSG just starting to shove around the map, and it's, yeah, about a 4K gold lead, or close enough to it, Nightstar, mostly off plates.
And last, I assume that's probably like 1 or 2 HP there.
That's a single-digit tower right there.
But, yeah, so far, Lazar dying 2 times, not exactly, you know, we expected a lot more from this pick, not necessarily from Lazar, unfortunately.
Well, this was, I mean, this was a weird flex, right? You know, we
Yeah.
thought, okay, yeah, that's fine. Like, you know, he flashed like a Talia to get some, like, good roaming. He's been stuck in lane, and he's been fired out. Like, this was a gamble that did not pay off, and he's running out of time to make it work. Here we go.
Yeah.
Looks for Unified. Finds the chains. That's going to be the root, but no kill threat.
Yeah, because when we look into the inventory, Lazar doesn't have the mythic completed. So he is definitely not quite there with his possible impact, and that means we're going to get a second Herald for PSG. So PSG fully dominating the objective game, and I'm pretty sure, yeah, that's Gory lobbing down the cannon barrage, mostly because I would assume that it was about to time out. So makes sense there. And now for some 9, what's your next move? It has to be around this dragon in 2.5 minutes from now, right? Hopefully by then Lazar has his mythic completed. I would assume it's going to be the Ludens, because you need to be able to pop somebody. The Everfrost, while has some utility, it really defeats the purpose of locking in the LeBlanc Yuumi combination, right? Yeah, that combo is supposed to try and overkill someone, not underkill.
Yeah, we were kind of hoping to see, like, you know, some roams out of this LeBlanc, maybe try to snowball in a lane or try to, like, you know, catch somebody out overextending, but 7-9 just have not been that proactive. I think Arashi has tried, but they just haven't been able to get to the picture, get to the play soon enough. Hanabi down bot. This could be the play, maybe setting something up. They will open up, but he nars him right back in.
Surprise!
It's going to be Arashi going in for round 2. The hop, the skip, the flash. Going for more. Another cast, and Arashi whiffs it.
Yeah.
That's going to be Shelly charging up topside. And, you know, one of our stories coming into this, Nightstar, the fact that Hanabi has been maybe a little bit forced on the weak side. Well, he's had absolutely no trouble this game against No Name.
Yeah, this game, it hasn't been an issue. And I mean, for Arashi, it's been really hard to try and influence these lanes, right? Because of the fact that he hasn't been able to, he didn't get to punish anyone during the lane phase, and afterwards, like, there's no lane for him to play around. There's no CC.
The lane ended really early.
He has to be the CC and the damage, which is so hard to do as a jungler, because usually you're lacking one or the other.
Yeah, and I'm starting to question the draft a little bit here, right? Like, you know, this Ezreal for Shidodo is you know, is gonna be able to do some damage later on, but it's not gonna match what Unified can do. They let the Twitch fall through, and they picked the GP into the Gnar, which, like, sure, that's good late game as well, but it hasn't really held up to Hanabi. And then this LeBlanc is the real head-scratcher, finally sitting on the Ludens, but, I mean, it just never really was able to do much to Gory. It was like pre-6 pressure, and that's it.
Yeah, and this fight is everything for Sem9, because you finally hit your mythic power spikes all across the board, and now maybe you can find a pop, but it's still so difficult.
They're not moving for
I mean,
it.
It's not only the shield bow coming in from the Zeri, but it's also the fact that there's a loop, and
They're just giving it up.
They're giving it up. So
Uh-oh.
that was their one timing window. I would have said is their chance, and they've ignored it. So I don't know what we're waiting for, Pyre.
I don't either, man. This is, you know, we came into today talking about Sem9 having more of an identity, having more of an understanding of their win condition. This looks like Spring Split all over again. This is a worry. As Arashi gonna get stunned up against the wall.
No Name
manages to get away. No Name's chased down by Hanabi, looking for the Gnar. He shoves him right into Unified, and oh, it's League of Legends by the numbers for this PSG talent squad. They might as well be hitting target dummies.
Yeah, when the game is this slow, of course, you know, it feels good if you are the projected worst team, because it gives you time to breathe. But unfortunately, like PSG, this is their comfort zone. I mean, this year, we've just known them to be incredibly slow-paced team. Even when they get leads, they don't just shove it down your throat like a J team. They don't just end the game on 24 minutes, at least not usually.
Whatever the opposite of full sending it is, that's PSG.
Yeah.
Usually. I will note, their Deep Cross game, their win against Deep Cross Gaming was like 26.5 minutes, which like is not terribly slow even in this meta. But yeah,
PCG helped them out though.
That's very true. There was a bit of an assist there. The CFO game was a lot longer. It was about 33.5. That is very late for this one. But let's take a look at this replay again. Like, now that they have just been on the lead, Arashi realizes, oh no, this is a bad place to be. And No Name realizes a little bit too late as Hanabi with that full Narbar going on. Oh boy. Austin can't really do much, but hey, Austin's not dying this game. Give the man credit.
Well, he does die here, but he hasn't.
Eventually.
He hasn't had as bad of a game, and part of that I would definitely attribute to the fact that he is on the Yumi, and you can understand why they had Arashi and Ashin in that area, right? Because of the fact that, hey, we want to protect this GP pick. But now, Bury just goes ahead, steals it away. We can see that
that's insult to injury.
Bury hasn't like forced any plays, but he's been, you know, clinical when he's needed to be, and such as just making sure the smite lands.
Exactly. And this is the PSG game plan. Just make sure everybody's doing the job, and we will be able to win because we've just got not only better players, but building those advantages. It is a game plan that works really well when your opposition cannot throw you any curveballs, cannot do much to you. We saw them lose out in the fight.
The force.
That was game costing. This is going to be the force. Can they make it happen as Kaiwing gets deleted off the map? No Name managing to get the kill on that one as they also find Shidodo.
Oh god, this is 2v5.
PSG,
2v5, do it.
I don't think they were ready for it. Nobody was ready for it, but Sem9 finds something as they quickly take 3, looking to kind of complete the sweep on this. As Gory runs for the hills, caught by the chains, goes in for the desperation play to turn down Lazar, who manages to stay alive at the last second. They will get 4 and now rush for the Baron. That is the turn.
Oh my god. All of a sudden things just got way spicier than we expected, Fire. It is going to be 1v5. Gory doesn't have the teleport, so any help from Hanabi is going to be hoofing it rather than going to be there instantaneous. So Sem9 should be able to get this. The matter is, Hanabi can do 1v4!
Oh, remember, if they get to the wall, they get the smite down, but still doing so much damage, and they've got to get out of here with it. Okay, everybody flashing. Arashi, he leaves the clone behind. It's fine. It's cool. That was close. What? This game went 0 to 60 really fast, Nightstar.
Oh, that was. But the thing is, that was an intentional play coming in from PSG. It's not even like, wow, Burry, he made a really big blunder. No, you can see the intent. It was, guys, we are face checking that bush. Unified's on the same page. Kyling's on the same page. They really wanted to face check that bush. And let's just say the end result is they should not have wanted to face check that bush.
No, they were feeling themselves. They were feeling confident. We were just talking about how PSG are not the team to take the unnecessary risk. Well, they did that time, and it bit them in the behind. Sem9 now in the game, have a chance here. Have a big gold infusion. But crucially, it's Soul Point at 23 minutes. They got to fight for this.
Yes. Yes, that is one of the small problems that they are facing, as it will be Cloud Soul on the table, which is... I mean, it's not like a huge damage threat here, and maybe that's why they've given it up, but it's just so hard to compete against Cloud Soul Zeri.
Okay, here comes Gory to try and set up with Stolen Cyclone, and the rest of PSG coming to play. As they look for the chase down,
Gory.
They will be able to find Gory on the Sem9 side, but what will they pay for? Is Burry looking to lock them up? 3 members quite low over there.
Oh my...
Dodo gets lasered down by Unified, who gets revenge for the earlier fight. The Nar shove does manage to find only Arashi's clone, but he's got nowhere to go. No. And down he falls. The shutdowns come left, right, and center for PSG Talent.
Yeah, Unified left untouched, even though he is a quarter HP. Definitely still has a lot of power when left unchecked by these solo laners.
Oh boy.
They're coming back into this.
Yeah, you got to keep the Baron for a little bit. So 1 tower taken by the Baron power play, and then they lose 3 members. Can't quite get the one in the mid lane, but Sem9, as I've said before, even despite all of this, they are in a far better position than they were prior to that fight that PSG started.
Yeah, Gory starts things off, jumps straight onto Lazar, but doesn't have really all that much burst damage. So he jumps in and gives them a scare, but Lazar is able to stay in the fight. And this laser, this is why Zeri has come straight back into the fourfold, because the mobility and also how much damage that zap does now. So
it's a big
it's a big zap.
Yeah, you guys think you've seen Jinx from Arcane. How about Zeri from League of Legends? What a big old laser she's got. 25 minutes on the clock. It is a Cloud Soul. It is a 4,000 gold lead for PSG. It is not snowballed out of control, and a lot of that is in towers, which are left standing on the map for Sem9 as Lazar. I know we said he was less of a liability. I think he's back to being a liability, Nightstar.
Hey, at least you've got a Yumi.
That's true.
It heals you,
yeah,
you know?
No Name is like Silver Linings, right? Like, No Name is going to be big. I think Arashi has come up with some good plays, as this time he finds the smite on the red buff. And yeah, the Yumi is going to enable some of your damage dealers, but it does feel like they might end up playing this game mostly 4v5.
Yeah, it's, I mean... Even
unless Lazar finds a pick.
He's waiting for his next item, which is going to be the Frozen Heart, knowing that, hey, there's a lot of AD threat, at least towards me, so I'm going to go ahead and build this Frozen Heart. The issue is, of course, Unified does do a decent chunk of magic damage, and there's always the threat of Gory. So he's got to space incredibly well against those two champions. Otherwise, I mean, Gory, he's got so much playmaking potential, right? Now he has the Zanyas completed. He can go into the backline and then into stasis to stay alive. The synergy, being able to get an extra rotation off with the Archangels is really, really nice and keeps him very healthy in combination with the Conqueror. So a lot of sustain coming out, and so far it's kind of just been the Punk Chainsword coming in from Arashi to cut down on that.
See if he can make it happen. I think Arashi has been able to find some good plays, but unfortunately for him, Gory has looked even flashier with the Cyclones that he's stolen away. He's become the big primary engage for PSG Talon, where Hanabi can follow up and they can just keep on going. However, Sem9 still have a chance in this one. Arashi waiting in the wings to see if he can set up a play. as he's joined by Ashin. Shidodo keeping the waves clear as they're just trying to stop the PSG push. 45 seconds till the Baron spawns, and I feel like that is going to be a pretty big objective play. 7-9, they've given up a lot of these for free, though. The question is, will they do it again?
I mean, for sure, you have to contest Elder Dragon, right? Maybe you don't contest Baron. Even that's a little bit questionable because it's second Baron. Or actually, no, because they got the first Baron, so you're not having the extra snowball power. But you don't have a great wave clear against Baron minions. So even a Baron buff is going to be tough to fight against. It's just a matter of which fight do they opt to take. That's the real question, because Baron's about to spawn, but of course the Elder, which is, I would say, the bigger focus, still has 90 seconds.
Yeah, and I don't think you're taking either of these without winning a fight first, right? PSG just like sniffing these out. You're not going to be able to rush it down. Vision control, of course, in their favor as they just continue to push deeper into the 7-9 jungle. On to be getting the ward clear away. No name. Gonna try to contest here. And this GP has been pretty heavily out-farmed, but does have his collector up. It's 3 items. He's going to start to hurt pretty heavily, even compared to the likes of the Gnar, although you're getting a lot more value out of that 5v5. And GP doesn't even have to spend teleport to get engaged. But PSG going to take their time about this. They're going to let the Baron spawn. Maybe try to force 7-9 into a push.
Oh,
they
Gory.
do find Gory on
turn.
the route, the final chapter. He goes golden. It's going to buy enough time for the team to arrive. Will they be able to take the play? Arashi goes in for round 2. This is going to be the fight.
Stays
7-9
alive.
will win or lose off the back of this one.
No.
Lazar goes deep. Lazar gets deleted. Ashin's going to fall next. That's the double kill for Gory. And it's coming up PSG as Hanabi absorbs the pressure. Arashi can do nothing as Buri can't quite go down.
Oh, the chain
command. Shidodo and No Name trying to hold the line, but that is easily going to be Baron and Elder and just about everything for PSG talent.
Oh, man, you saw the angle for Lazar. You have to respect him trying to take that angle. The issue was he got CC'd, couldn't get out, and that's not only just one death. It cost them their other big team fight power, which is, of course, the Yuumi. So if they still had the Yuumi up, maybe they have an opportunity to slow things down and kind of poke their way back into it. But because the Yuumi also goes down on the back end, that's where things really fall apart. At first, it seemed like it was going to be a replay of when Buri really wanted to face check that bush and just die straight up, but ends up surviving using the stasis. It was an important cooldown. And then when Lazar goes in, he gets hit by the knockup coming in from Wukong, and it was just a complete flub. After that, it's just 7-9 just have to sprint as fast as they can, and unfortunately, you're up against Cloud Soul.
There you are. Lazar's ult stolen by Gory here. Cloud Soul on the table, or excuse me, Elder on the table. PSG already have the Baron in their pocket, going to try to just complete the collection to end this game. And it's 7-9 with the desperation fight as they try to keep them zoned off. And Lazar just can't do anything. Even with the Yuumi on, they've got the root, but they've got no damage. As Dragon resets, now it's PSG with the Prio.
Yeah, teleport still available onto Gory. He's looking for a recall. But
it's gonna be the Gnar denied. Teleport comes through. Here's Gory.
Gory's behind them.
Keep your eyes on the flank
Wukong.
as he looks for the play. With the Wukong ultimate gets stuck for just a second, but it doesn't matter as they take Shidodo out of the fight, and PSG just collapse for the Goomba Stomp. Never mind the Dragon. That's gonna be GG.
There's definitely some hiccups here and there, but I mean, it was unexpected hiccups, we could say, against 7-9, but in the end, 31 minutes into the game, maybe a little bit more labored, but par for the course on this patch. PSG pulled themselves up to 3-1, and 7-9, you showed one flash of brilliance, but unfortunately, that's not enough against a team like PSG.
No, it is not. Gory even hitting them with the Zanya's round 2. That thing that kept him alive there as PSG will improve, as you said, to 3-1. 7-9 still in the hunt. We need to see more from this team. I think there was a fair bit of regression in that game, and that is troubling for a squad that we had higher hopes for. Maybe not in this game in particular.
Yes.
But just in general.
Definitely in general, we expected to see a little bit more. But improvements came in the fact that they solved their issue of their coach getting caught out of position by just saying, hey, we'll put you on to Yuumi, right? So maybe the Yumi is going to be the key player in future drafts for Sem 9, but we get to see the replay. It's really just about Gory being able to win this 1v2 essentially, right? Because he's up against the Yumi, and because he burns the Yumi ultimate, that's a big team fight ultimate gone from them. And then he has the reset, whereas Lazar doesn't go for his own, whereas he definitely could have. And perhaps he just didn't see that angle. And now the teleport comes in. They're just pinched. They have nowhere to go. They have to decide which angle they want to approach because they're sandwiched. And because they aren't able to hard commit, because they don't have, remember, the Yumi ultimate. So no way to assert their dominance, and pop they go.
Yeah, and this was just very calculated on the PSG side, right? Even the back, the teleport, the setup, and it didn't really matter what necessarily happened to Gory. They were just able to make the play. PSG, you did say a couple unexpected hiccups, and I think it's true. Like maybe feeling themselves a little too much, pushing a little too deep in enemy territory, showing that they could be punished, but they just outclassed over and over on the whole, and that's why they get the win on the board. So PSG, you know, I don't think it's like the unstoppable dominance that we saw from them before, but a team like Sem 9 not going to be able to be the team to knock them off. Not in this game, not in this meta, not in this week, it turns out. But I think for Sem 9, if they can tune up some of the champion pick choices, maybe make a few changes. I liked the Yui, did not like the LeBlanc. I think that was the problem.
Yeah, I think most people will be critical about the LeBlanc, knowing that Lazar isn't necessarily a player to get ahead in lane. So maybe if it was a really big assassin player or a really skilled player that's able to get 1v1 kills or focuses more so on those, maybe you give it to him and see what kind of magic they can do. Lazar hasn't shown that he's one of those players.
Yeah, and I think they were flashing through a number of champions that I really would have liked to see. I think the Talia could have stepped up really big there. You know, you can still keep the Silas at arm's length. And yes, you can give him something like a Weaver's Wall, but, you know, I don't think that really makes that
That's
big
not
a
a combat ult.
Yeah, it's not really, you're not really worried about it too much, right? And at the same time, like, I think Gory did a really good job at holding on in lane. There was a little bit of pressure looked at him. Arashi just couldn't really match what was going on around the map. Like, he definitely tried to set up for plays, but PSG played really, really well at keeping the Wukong and the rest of the Sem 9 squad at arm's length a good chunk of the time. They denied a lot of counter pressure opportunities, and Hanabi, the one potential weakness that we've been talking about, kind of just flexed on No Name. Like, he got a decent CS lead, he was fine, he had big Gnar ults. I mean, we know this guy can play Gnar, so maybe we needn't have worried. Nightstar, PSG having very little trouble in this victory over Sem 9.
Yeah, and obviously the big critique when it came to the draft phase was the LeBlanc, but at the same time, the GP, you know, where it came in the draft, maybe you just let it get banned in the second phase, but they opted to take the GP over the Twitch. Maybe the Twitch is something that Twitch is, of course, one of those champions that has game-changing ability, whereas the Ezreal is like, you know what an Ezreal can do, right? There's a pretty solid floor. Yes, it's pretty high, but the ceiling doesn't also feel like it's there. The ceiling is very dependent on the player, and I don't think Shiadodo early in his career has that high to be able to flip the game on its head.
I agree with that one, but you know who has the high ceiling? It's Gory, who gets an MVP once again here on this Silas play. Definitely set up so many engages, and his Cyclones that he stole away from Arashi were critical to the team's success time and time again.
Now the real question is going to be, what's his MVP rate going to be at the end of the season, right? Because right now I think he's gotten 3 out of 3 for his team. So far 100% of their wins has also translated into 100% of his MVPs. So
that's math.
Yeah, exactly. so we'll see how things progress, but like, Gory's been unreal in these team fights, and that was yet another display of how good he can be, and that PSG has to be put, or PCS has to be put on watch.
Absolutely. I think he's making a massive splash, and PSG improving to 3-1 feels good for the returning champions, our MSI representatives, and we'll see if they keep on crushing it, maybe correct the few mistakes we have seen. But we are 3 games in the books, Nightstar. We're rolling on through today. We've had some interesting games so far. We've had some good big jungle differences. We've had teams make games maybe a little unexpectedly spicy. I think a few surprises in the mix, but maybe we've got a little bit more coming up. What do you think?
Yeah, I think these last 2 games to finish out the day are going to be incredibly fun and definitely important to watch.
Oh yeah, and you know, I'll be frank with you, because they're playing J-Team next right after this. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.